On Wednesday, I was invited to a press event by 2K for the upcoming release of WWE 2K17. The build of the game that I played was a basic demo featuring 4 match types, a standard singles match, a backstage brawl, a triple threat match, and a fatal 4-way ladder match. The build also featured 6 on-disc superstars, including AJ Styles, Alberto Del Rio, Finn Balor, Dean Ambrose, Kevin Owens, and Seth Rollins. Also, it featured one of the NXT Edition's downloadable superstars, Shinsuke Nakamura. This was far from a finished product, but regardless, here's 7 things I learned playing WWE 2K17. Number 1. Shinsuke Nakamura is pretty awesome. This year's Collector's Edition is the NXT pack featuring 3 exclusive superstars, the most exciting of which is the current NXT champion Shinsuke Nakamura. The build I played featured him despite the fact that he's not on the on-disc roster, and oh boy, it's a sheer joy to play as him, being able to hit the Kinshasa off of both the middle rope and from the front. A lot of fans are curious as to how the Kinshasa looks, and I have to say that it looks pretty damn sweet. The middle rope Kinshasa is his signature move, and he has 2 versions of the regular Kinshasa. The first is the strong style knee that was included in the DLC pack with 2K15, and a new, more accurate version from the standing position. It should also be noted that there's a 3rd version for use at ringside as part of the new feature where you can assign different signatures and finishes for outside of the ring. Number 2. More fluid gameplay. Year on year, the standard gameplay in the current generation of WWE games have been adding more and more layers to it. This year introduces a few small things that simply improve the look of matches. For example, if you have a signature move that's a back grapple, but you activate it from the front, rather than spin your opponent around awkwardly, your character will punch the opponent hard enough to force them to turn around, allowing the move to be completed. Another issue that has been rectified is OMG moments that trigger instead of a finisher. For example, Sami Zayn has the Haluva kick in the corner, but also has an OMG moment triggered from the same position. Sometimes the OMG moment will trigger rather than the finisher. This year, if you want to execute an OMG move, you have to press R1 and triangle on the PlayStation 4, or the right shoulder button and Y on the Xbox One. Finally, the most notable addition is an actual purpose for taunts. The taunt system has been a method for getting a small boost to your momentum meter going back for years, but there haven't been very many consequences to failing. You either completed the taunt to get the boost, or you didn't and got nothing. This year changes all of that with temporary stat boosts, such as extra momentum being gained or a reduction in damage taken. If you fail, however, it seems that the opposite would be true. Number 3. The new rollout feature. One of the new features to add realism to matches is the rollout feature. If you take substantial damage while in a 3 or 4-way match, you'll automatically roll out of the ring to recuperate. The HUD changes to a sectioned meter filling up. While the meter's in the red zone, you have to be patient and wait. And in the orange section, you have the opportunity to break out and return to the action early. However, that comes with a consequence of a temporary debuff where you take more damage for a limited period. This has been a divisive feature among the community, and in action I'm personally still not overly sold on it. Even early on in multi-man matches, it seems to take way too long to get back into the action, even if I were to break out and return to action early. However, this adds an element of realism because rarely in real triple threat matches are all 3 competitors in action at the same time, with the odd one out waiting his turn patiently. Also in previous years, multi-man matches were quite frantic and messy. It'll take some time to get used to. Number 4. Backstage Brawls. It's safe to say that we're all excited for the return of the Backstage Brawl. We've already heard that you can go from the ring to the backstage area, but we've yet to see it happen. Backstage brawls can happen on their own, and usually start in a corridor with one of a range of animations kicking things off. There are 4 distinct areas: the gorilla position, the locker room, the authorities office, and the corridor itself, each coming with its own features. Upon breaking into the authorities office, you will either find Triple H or Stephanie in there. We've already seen footage of Triple H meeting you at the door and looking angry, but I didn't see that personally. I saw either Trips or Steph hanging out behind their desk, miffed at the chaos ensuing. It's worth noting that in this build that backstage brawls didn't feature the option to pin. Maybe that's only reserved for matches that begin in the ring and go backstage. Also, you'll notice Renee Young, a random superstar, and some staff hanging around in the corridor, but as soon as you approach, they run. You can catch up, but nothing can be done with them. Nice touch though. Number 5. New finisher position. With the debut of AJ Styles, WWE have given him a new finisher, the phenomenal forearm. It's a springboard forearm to the face. We've never really had a main roster superstar with a springboard finish. Rey Mysterio had one as a combo within the 619, and we also had Brian Pillman's springboard lariat that ended up being a canned corner grapple. This year that all changes with the introduction of springboard finishers from the apron, which is very useful when it comes to AJ's phenomenal forearm. A springboard forearm was introduced in WWE 2K17's moveset pack DLC, and to be honest, I've rarely been able to connect it. In 2K17, when you go to the apron with your opponent on the canvas, you can hold the triangle or Y button, they're acting like the wake up taunt. Let it go and watch the finisher connect. Brilliant. Number 6. New ladder match mechanics. The past few years has had a ladder match with a strange mechanic featuring a simple timing tugging system that wasn't the best, but was better than the worst system that took ages and was just a slowly depleting meter. There have been requests from fans to change the system, and this year 2K has supplied a replacement. It's almost a lock-picking minigame, adding more strategy and difficulty to the match. You have a ball that you can get to the center of a circle, with a moving gap for the ball to get through. This will need to be completed 8 times to win the match, bringing more tension in. If you get knocked off the ladder, all the progress remains, which is where the strategy comes in. Do you do all the work, or do you allow your opponent to do most of the work and then sneak a victory? Talking of the ladder match, one of the more controversial things brought in was the ability to only set the ladder up in specific places. This isn't an issue, as this stops the awkwardness of placing the ladder in the wrong place and not being able to win the match. Plus, for the first time, you can bridge a tall ladder from the apron to the barricade and use that as a weapon for tons of damage. The uses that I saw during my time with the game were a powerbomb through the ladder, which looks brutal by the way, which was assigned to Kevin Owens and requires a finisher, and a dive through the ladder, which didn't require a finisher. Number 7. Fighting in the crowd. This one was a bit of a challenge to find out about because of the limitations of the build. This returning feature seems to only work in singles matches, which in this case were subject to the referee's 10 count. However, I did get to see the area in action, which features a small handful of weapons including a table and 2 chairs. However limited the weapons are, you can also explore more of the area, fighting behind the fans on the floor and working your way to either the stage or to the barricade on the other side of the ringside area. Yes, that means that the area can be accessed from both corner barricades on the far side of the ringside area. That's it for this video about 7 things I learned from WWE 2K17. I'll be doing more coverage of 2K17 up till its global release date of October 11th, 2016 and beyond. It will be available on PlayStation 4, Xbox One, PS3 and 360. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe, and I'll catch you next time.